Hello.
Y'all see the new Cowboy Bebop casting?
Well, who's
Oh my god.
John shows to be Spike Spiegel.
So we have ADHD.
Yeah. Which is great.
Welcome to...
I just said, which is great.
I love the habit. I love the taste.
But more proper introduction, I guess. Welcome to another episode of Film Critters Process.
Great start.
This is what they pay us the big bucks for, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
If we haven't muted his microphone already, we're joined today by Greg.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. No. What's up, everybody? Hello, I'm Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Hi.
And I am, as always, J Bear Hat.
And I am, as always, Baru.
Yay.
And
today we're talking about us. Let's talk about us,
baby. Let's talk about us,
that
baby.
movie.
Jesus.
You had a bit set up that I was not. I have an ambush. I need to go home.
Mom, I need you to take me home.
I precisely request to go home.
Yeah. Us.
Great movie.
Good movie.
Hey.
Well, that's our episode. Go
All right,
see
bye everybody. Go fucking watch
Peace.
it.
If you haven't seen Us yet, and you're worried, you're like, oh, is it gonna be like Get Out? It's really good. It is more of a traditional horror film, so if you don't really like traditional horror, maybe sit this one out. But I would definitely recommend it as a movie to see, as a movie to digest. It's not like super scary. Like you're not gonna be like, I shit and pissed my pants all over the theater. But it's like it's a fun 80s horror film.
It's a similar and unsettling. Like, I feel like it had the same similar unsettling horror as like Get Out, but it's definitely in its own like.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it is like there's a lot to think about with the movie, but it is also like it's very good at just being like. Here's the underground people, and they're gonna kill you.
It really is just he wrote his own version of Chud.
Yeah, Just.
We pointed that out that like at the beginning of this movie it has kind of the same thing as at the beginning of Climax, where there's like all of these reference points, and
it's insane because it was the same week we saw Climax.
Yeah, it was crazy, and like it was also like the crazy thing about it is that Climax sucks fucking ass. But all of the movies that are like next to Climax are these like really like good art films. Like there's like Suspiria there, and like I don't know some other ones.
It's like a lot of like classic like horror and like Italian horror stuff, especially. And then there's like
all of the a
garbage movie that you watch in between.
All of the so like all of the inspirations on the mood board in Us, however, are like Chud.
The Man with Two Brains.
Yeah,
is one of them. I think. I can't remember which one's the one that's the VHS tape that's like written, like it's handwritten.
Fuck, my brain doesn't work.
Oh my god! It's like a TV special of something.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check what this is. The tapes at the beginning. But yeah, because like I remember I went and saw it a second time recently because
I didn't
friends
see
of
it a
mine.
second time. I wish I'd seen it before I came here, but I'm still having fun.
Yeah, a friend of mine wanted to go see it, and I was like, I want to watch it again because I like it, but also.
You kind of had to see Jordan Peele's movies twice, honestly.
Yeah, I sadly.
I want his next movie to be called
once.
Twice, See It 3 Times.
Oh my fucking god!
Spoilers. Jordan Peele's gonna kill me.
Jordan Peele. Get Greg on the horn.
I got ideas, baby. All right, new movie. Instead of Us, call it We.
Cool. Thems. Oh, the Goonies and The Right Stuff is the handwritten. I think is the handwritten one.
Oh, okay.
I think there's straight up a line where Red says it's our time.
Yeah,
so it's like
no, that's a Goonies reference. I didn't know that because I wasn't really into it.
Okay.
Oh,
so that's a huge spoiler.
Oh yeah.
I thought we were doing that. Is that the thing we do there?
No. Yeah, no. So hey everybody. No, I mean like you already know that there's spoilers in this video. What the fuck?
That's what we do.
If you're watching
this is all
this
spoilers.
movie,
Whatever.
Fuck you.
Anyway,
we always try to put in the about just like spoilers. There's this video of spoilers for like the whole film basically because like that's our bit. Yeah, that's but that does remind me.
So,
since you've really heard spoilers, Greg, do you know the first time the word tethered is used in the movie Us?
Wasn't it during the Hands Across America?
Yeah, it's in the Hands Across America bit.
I like it's Us makes you feel fucking insane.
Rewatching it, and like getting to the part where it's just like in the commercial, it's just casually dropped. I was like,
it's like the same
because I couldn't tell my friends because I'm like, listen, there's a reason. I'm like,
it's the same feeling as
how like pulls my phone out and starts taking notes.
It's the same feeling as like how you when you watch Get Out a second time, like when you realize the reason she's so defensive of him during with the cop confrontation. Yeah. The only reason she's really actually confronted is because that would leave a trail of like suspicion. Yeah. Versus like anything that would be like potentially woke about it. And it's just this whole like recontextualization of like everything. And fuck, I need to watch the movie a second time. That's the only part I know about that's like completely like. Also, another part I liked is so in the beginning credits, how there's like the 3 brown rabbits amidst like the sea of like other white rabbits. I had the one because Jordan Peele does a thing where he makes you feel like an insane person, but like, but also you might not be wrong. But basically, where it's because obviously the main cast is 4 people, 3 of which are not tethered. Mm-hmm. 1 is secretly tethered, so maybe that's why there's 3 brown rabbits to represent the ones that are not tethered.
So after you had pointed that out when I was rewatching it, when she gets back to the underground facility near the end of the film, there's 1 brown rabbit that hops into the classroom.
Fuck!
Wow.
And all the other rabbits in the hallway are white. I think it's also really relevant because the whole film takes place in Santa Cruz, which is an extremely like artificially gentrified beach down city. Like it is a city that was like very much so built with specific ways to like decrease the likelihood of like non-white and especially like poor people moving there. Yep. Which is definitely something that seems to be one of the many themes in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I guess a quick rundown of the movie. Us is the name of the us is the clones.
I wasn't in it, so I don't know why they called that.
The clones is us metaphorically, but we are the them to the us.
We are the them to the us.
We are the same to the. So who's the real us and who's the real them?
Jesus Christ! If y'all don't stop. Okay. So.
But yeah, you should actually go and see it before you watch this episode.
Yeah.
Not only because we just spoiled a bunch of shit.
So anyway, at the end when it's revealed that Red is actually Adelaide and Adelaide is actually Red and they switch places when she was a child.
Yeah. So on the twist, I want to bring up the fact that it's really funny and I'm really upset that I guessed the twist, but I only guessed it because about halfway through the film, I was like, they really show that shot in the trailers a lot of like the twin girl choking the other girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, but they haven't shown it. Oh
yeah, exactly. Oh. It's really like it's this really like Twilight Zone like meta like extra like cultural thing of just like understanding that trailers sometimes use shots that aren't in the movie, so the whole movie like I mean like I presume that that is like a level of understanding because this is like one of the most watertight scripts of all time. Again, like second time in a row.
Yeah.
So like to have that ambiguity there, and to have that level of awareness.
I love after the reveal just recontextualizing the ways that like Adelaide or quote unquote Adelaide was interacting with the tethered, like how like in the like both of the scenes with like the tethered children, where she was just like. In the part where the one that's sister, everyone's daughters, when she's like hurled to the woods.
It's Umbra and it is the clone. I don't remember the original girl's name offhand.
I really need to like learn to fucking. Like,
I was like literally reading the cast list because I wanted to know what the names.
I'm glad you did that. Yeah, Umbra when she's like launched into the fucking woods and like she's like calming her down as she's like dying and everything, and then with who is Jason's tethered?
Pluto.
I fucking love that the tethers have names. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, all of them. Tim Heidecker and Patty from Mad Men also have tethers, and their characters also have name. Tim Heidecker's name is Tex.
Of course it's Tex.
Oh my god.
And let me see here. And Kitty's, his wife's name was Dahlia. The twins were like their things were Io and Nix. Io and Nix, which I think is like some sort of all of the characters have very like cultural names. Like obviously Tex is a very like loaded kind of concept. I feel like very loaded person named Tex. But yeah, no, all of the every double has a name if the main character has a name.
I love how fucking thorough Jordan Peele is. It's like, because it's so easy to just like consider maybe Red and just the others are just the tethered.
Yeah,
but like. The care of his craft to like make sure that even the tethered have identities, which also kind of goes into like, I would not be surprised if that was on purpose. That like it's easy to like kind of like not think about the tethered having names because that's kind of how like, you know, to go over like the whole like the one of the themes of the movie being about the other and like America's fear of the other is like with like you said when you're mentioning the like kind of the what is it, the gentrification of Santa Cruz and like kind of in general America, it's easy to kind of forget like the names of the people who are like trying to like, you know, come up and like make their means happen. So it's very easy to kind of like just they all just kind of blend in with like just being that's just the tethereds, and like the one who manages to speak up is the one that people can remember, but like and everyone else is kind of just like thrown into like this assumption of the tether until you do the research and like actually, you know, give half a shit to like know that they have names, which is kind of like, and speaks a lot about how like, you know, minorities are treated in like a lot of ways, as far as like just forgotten as a mass to like just be like this homogeny of like brown and, you know, just different colors of purple and green because I don't see color.
And it is also like too where it's like in the film, they only name the main family tethered because there's like the scene where she's introducing them all.
Yeah.
But in the credits, to draw your attention to it, the names of the tethered and the cast listings are in red.
God, I fucking...
Which is...
the little things! Yeah, little touches! Jordan Peele's a fucking genius!
Even Red, Sass, Adelaide's parents, their tethereds are also named. Even though we only see them in like that, like very briefly in the flashbacks.
What a good fucking movie.
They're Wayland and Eartha.
I love those names. Yeah. I want to meet those tethereds. And have them kill me with scissors. Nice.
Well, I mean, something else I didn't notice in this film until the second watch through. Something we know is that the tethered is so Rain and Eartha have died right before the movie starts, because they casually mention really early on in the film that Jason hasn't been doing well since his grandmother died. His grandmother being Red and Adelaide's mom. So the thing that kind of puts it all into motion is Red's basically like grandmother dying and or Adelaide's grandmother like tethered dying. And since they're tethered, her thus probably knowing that her actual mother has died. And that she hasn't seen her mom since she was 13.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like...
it's literally not until after her parents have died that she makes the move on her plan, because those are the only people above ground that she had any connection to before she went underground.
I fucking love movies.
So much
I
shit
love
like that.
writing.
It's such a small... Because like I remember when I watched it, I was like, oh, they're setting up the grandma being dead recently being a thing, and then you forget about it because it doesn't come up again later. But then when I was rewatching it, I was like, wait, the Adelaide would know that her mother died because her tethered version of her mom would have died recently as well. Mm-hmm. And it's implied that the reason they're going on the vacation is because it's right after her death.
Fuck.
It's such a beautifully tightly wrapped
I didn't
movie
fucking think about that at all.
Where the more like I like watching it again and just picking up on like the parallels they do, there's like very clearly a lot of thought put into not just like, you know, like stuff that's going on top of it, but just like giving the tethereds an internal life that you can only understand once you sort of like rewatch it and catch the subtle things that are set up in the above ground, and then thinking about how that it would have affected them in the below ground.
Exactly. Like it's just, oh god, that's so fucking good.
And I don't want it to come across us as being like, oh, this movie had a story. Great job. It's really just like like any other movie I feel like would just be like, oh, I'm so sad that my mom just died. Yeah, baby, let's go on a vacation.
Yeah,
it's process. Like have fun as a family.
Yeah,
like to me, it would be lore. It would be like, oh, did you notice kind of stuff? And like, there's definitely that kind of an audience response to it. But to me, what I like about it is because it all ties into this idea of like, my big thesis idea that I have for the film, and it is that there's the general us versus them narrative,
Yeah.
but that a big part of the film's idea is sort of nature versus nurture in that same sort of way of like the way us versus them is constructed.
Yeah.
And he's saying there's this idea that the them is usually a matter of circumstance. And so all of the tethered are essentially versions of the people that they're tethered to, but with the absolute worst circumstances happening in their life. So you have Jason, where it's like, above ground, he like plays with like this little lighter thing as a magic trick. Below ground, he becomes burned because of that. Above ground, I can't remember the daughter's actual name, but like, she's like, oh, I don't really want to do track and field. Zora, she's like, I don't really want to do track and field. Below ground, Umbra is more stronger at it because she has been training for it for war her entire life. There's just so much like God. The revelation of like Abraham realizing that he hasn't been able to see his whole life.
And then wearing the glasses.
Because he puts the glasses on, and just like his anger at realizing that like his double has not had the same blindness that he has had his entire life. Just like small things like that, where it's like, I feel like a big thing in the film is like, not just that, but also like the ways those resentments boil over. Where it's like to the people above ground, it's like, why are these things killing us? It's just, there's a line where Red is like, oh, it's just craziness. When someone asks, like, why do you think they're doing this? It's like, she knows why, but she's like, oh, it's just craziness.
It's also indicative of, like, the frustrations that can, like, lead to, like, to make the connection to, like, kind of, like, the path of, like, minorities trying to make it in, like, the America by literally, the tether, like, as a metaphor for, people, like, who are, like, the downtrodden, like, being the mimicking the ways that people make ends meet up here, up in like how successful people make ends meet, but it's just not fucking working. So they're still down there doing all the things that like are supposed to be contributing to this idea of the American dream and like making all these like successful ways forward, but they're just still stuck like in this like sense of like I'm just like parroting what I've been told is supposed to like make me successful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the people above are reaping the benefits of are able to like, do things like, be able to see clearly and take that for granted, and like, I'm gonna get or we're gonna get burned for like trying to do the same things that like they do, but like I'm the one who gets mutilated and they get to like fucking. It's a lot to take in. Like I like that this movie is at its heart. It's two things at once as far as like being like as heavy as Get Out can be, but also is at its core also just like a really good love letter to shit like Chud and the Goonies and whatnot. And I like that like you can have these conversations and be equally valid. Like it's the purest form of several things are true all the time.
It kind of, the movie to me, like the thing I find most important and like compelling about it is that it does this kind of like awareness of like it like other, you would call it in other movies like social awareness, because like it can, I think that a lot of creators who get like passionately political tend to turn to more like ham-handed ways of saying what they're getting across, and with this movie it completely breaks that spell, and it completely shows that like this can like really bring back a sense in horror that it is like encompassing like political and like class concerns that are like really real and really meaty, and that it like in a way the movie is like talking about and evoking like the barrier between different classes. And like it's so much.
It feels good to see this like approach taken to
what if Prince and Pauper but spooky?
Scary
Prince and Pauper, scary.
Oh, we can't do ooh voice in this fucking podcast.
Well, we're not doing it.
So like the line to me that really ties all of those like two things is the part where she's like, if it wasn't for you, I would have never learned to dance. Because it's like there's the obvious way in which, like, yeah, literally because the tethered, like, because Red learned to dance above ground. But the reason Red learned to dance above ground was because her parents thought that she had PTSD, and so she was put into art therapy, which is something Adelaide would have never had access to otherwise, because it's kind of very heavily suggested in the opening that she has kind of a fraught home life, and that her family is probably, like, lower middle class.
I can't hear the word fraught anymore.
Oh, okay. It's a uncomfy home life. And so the suggestion that I got kind of from it, especially because, like, her friends know her, is like, oh yeah, didn't you used to like art and dance? Is that she basically became upwardly mobile because of this. Because she became a successful artist and a huge dancer.
Yep.
So it's literally like, oh, I would have never learned to dance if it weren't from you. But it's also like, oh, if this hadn't happened, neither of us would have learned to dance. You would have had no opportunity for upward mobility. And so it's like that kind of idea of like, it is entirely opportunity. It is entirely just chance. It is entirely just like, if things in your life went the exact opposite way, you would be a them. You would be an evil version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that is essentially how, like, class works in America.
Yeah, just opportunities presented to different people at different times, and like how it can supremely change the life of someone who has never even had any access to that. Like, and then this thing, and then somebody who is just like, who can have access to it, but is just surrounded by like a wealth of it, and can just like live or die without it.
She literally, like, Red literally learns how to become human, and when she does the smile at the end of the film, it's a human smile, not like the creepy twisted smile that they've been doing all movie. It's like she literally, the literally only thing that differentiated her from the tethered was that she learned to be human because of these access to things she didn't have underground, because they are human. And Adelaide is like, hey, we are also human, even though she essentially became a tethered because she was kidnapped and shoved into the tethered tunnels.
The TTs, if you will.
TTs.
God.
Little quirky nickname I just thought about,
Yeah, so I was watching an interview with Jordan Peele, probably one that a lot of people have seen, where he remarked that, like, one of the themes of the movie is kind of generational trauma and trauma in general, which I kind of, when I will say when I first watched Us, I kind of like had this immediate like knee-jerk reaction of just like I don't know, like I don't know if I get it. That ending kind of ruined it for me. I kind of didn't think it was necessary. I kind of thought it was too corny, too much, too ham-fisted. And then, like, once I watched that interview and put two and two together and like kind of understood like what that like in my feeling is that another thing that the movie is trying to put forward is that, like, all these kind of this exploration of trauma and how it affects you, and how there's like always going to be another version of you that either like was or wasn't affected, or was affected by things worse, or like that kind of thing that you were saying before. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, that actually makes sense. It's literally the difference between her healing and her becoming a psycho murderer, and how that even, like, generationally, how that plays down forward to, like, Adelaide doesn't care about her kids or the above ground kids, to the point that she uses Pluto as bait in a trap that gets him killed. But Red is both, like, extremely protective and doing anything to try to keep her kids safe, while also clearly being, like, upset and wanting to, on some level, like, save Umbra and Pluto. Something I didn't notice is, like, in the scene where, like, they're at the car, when it cuts into the car and they're like, what is she doing? She's talking to Pluto, but we never hear what she's saying. Because then Jason gets out of the car and then he starts moving it, and then she goes, no, stop. And, like, so we don't know what she's doing or saying to Pluto in that scene.
God. It's fuck! Every time I think about this movie, it's like, fuck! Oh, sorry. I moved paper around, everybody. Sorry.
It's ASMR.
Speaking of, like, some more
paper.
Some more, when you watch things on a second look, things you'll notice. There's a lot of stuff that, like, becomes more meaningful once you know, like, Red's actual inner turmoil. Like, that's the thing about the twist, is that it's not a twist and then it's like, it'll completely change the way you see it. Do you notice that when she's snapping along to the song, she's off rhythm? Is that because she's tethered? And it's like, no, it's just probably bad sound editing.
Yeah, like
Probably it's a movie.
It's probably just whoever was editing that scene doesn't have rhythm and fucked it up.
yeah, we're looking at you, a guy who sound edited. You fuck.
But there's like small things where it's like when she's freaking out and she's telling Wilson what's going on. One, she says, "I wandered away from my parents. I don't remember why." But the answer is she doesn't know because she's not the one who wandered away from her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was just mimicking. And then he's like, she's like, "Oh, when this is going on, there's a dark cloud above me. I don't feel like myself." And he goes like, "Well, you look like yourself." And she turns around and looks like really upset for a second.
God, fuck! God!
And when she's on the beach with Kitty trying to talk to her and make small talk of her, it comes off like she's just trying to like blow off small talk. But she was like, "Oh, I'm not really good with talking." Because she literally had to learn how to talk
at like age whatever
13
she was.
or 14. Yeah. There's just like a lot of things where it's like you start to understand more. Like they do a really good job of basically here's a character who has a horrible like guilt and secret and trauma that essentially is her viewing herself as evil and trying to escape being evil for her entire life. And it completely changes like scenes that you take as just her being polite or her being anxious or her being like upset about something that happened into like, oh, she's like still dealing with the repercussions of something traumatic that happened to her as a child.
I love how Jason was utilized in this movie as well as like his reactions being very indicative of like when you like I don't know if this is a weird thing or not or if it's correct or not, but also it's like this is a show about opinions about movies and whatever, so anything's and everything's correct and everything's words and 4 words don't mean anything. No. Just like how his reactions to Adelaide getting more and more in the very like what's the word? Like just brutal.
Tethered.
Very unhinged for a tethered,
untethered. More and more untethered.
Just getting very unhinged for someone who claims to be tethered.
Claims to be tethered.
2019. Claims to be, we're green texting and movements.
It's really, I want to tell
sucks.
Everyone in the audience it's really cool.
I want you to know we were really... Anyways,
we have a cool face on right now.
But, like... Jason is getting more and more uncomfortable as, like, Adelaide... Number one, Adelaide getting more red as she's covered in more blood, which is another, like, visual gag I like a lot. So, Jason's little moments of, like, who the fuck is this lady who, like, is, like, getting really, like, brutal with these, like, ways she's just killing these tethers who, like, it's just getting way too into it. And I feel like one of y'all talked to me about this before, and I hope I'm not jacking one of y'all's talking points, but if I am, forgive me, or feel free to cut in. But, how casual it was when, they were talking about the kill count scene, and how as, like, everything was going on, they were just becoming way, way more, like,
jaded. More jaded.
More jaded about, which kind of, like, ties into the whole, like, passing of trauma, like, just like, how it just becomes, like, a thing you're just used to seeing, despite it being, like, overtly harmful and terrible.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're just doing that, oh yeah, well, I killed the most people. And it's funny. It's extremely funny, but it's also, like, you think about it, like, I like that Jordan Peele's movies are like a slow burn. Like, you watch it and then it takes a week for everything to sink in if you haven't watched it a second time. Which I need to watch it a second time. But, like, even so, like, it takes, like, it's just a, like, slow drip. And, like, by the time your cup is full, you're just like, fuck!
There's a lot that's really relatable about Red. Which is to say that like her like which is like what Greg was just saying, like how her like temper and her brutality like shows itself in her kids, and also like in her husband, just because of how like I don't know, like that's like throughout the movie she's kind of like dealing with these like really difficult aspects of herself as like. As like a tethered in quotes, as like a fake, as like a traumatized, like, someone with like trauma and like someone with something in their past that they're like scared of, and like scared of confronting. So like, hey, like, good touch. Really cool.
Oh yeah.
Something a connection I just made in on like both those points is also that the person the tethered that the mom kills, that that Jason walks in on, and is like starts to like clearly figure out that something's off with his mom, is the same one, is one of the ones that his sister killed, and then the other one that his sister Zora killed, she killed in a similarly brutal way. And also similarly went like psycho on it, and it's like the difference in like how he relates to that and how he like witnesses those things and like what those mean to him.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Also I love that they have very minimal on-screen violence the whole film.
There's like
honestly, it's mostly like just effects. You see the aftermath of it a lot, but it's like you never really see anybody's head being split open. It's a lot of like impact shots of like. I feel like the most like violence
cutaway shots if someone's getting like exactly hit. Close-up shots for like something being set up, but it's usually blood splattering onto things, and then you'll see like a person lying on the ground and like they're bleeding.
Yeah.
You also never really see anybody get stabbed until the end, if you think about it.
Yeah, and there's also, isn't there some sort of touch where like Red doesn't or not Red, but Adelaide doesn't commit any violence. Adelaide, who is in
Adelaide, who as far as the protagonist of the movie, Adelaide as a kid,
not the protagonist, but like the one in Red.
The real Adelaide.
Which I might be wrong. Like because
the closest I could think of is like in their fight scene. She's every time it's like a jiu-jitsu kind of thing where it's like she lunges at her and she grabs her and slams her on the ground kind of stuff. But she'll also like
swipe at her.
She'll swipe at her with the scissors. And like so like she gets cut up and stuff in that scene. But it's like she never. I don't think she actually like attacks anyone in the same way any of the other.
It's like using Red, quote Redelaide, using her force against Adelaide.
Yeah.
That's the one compartmentalizing this.
Well,
it's getting
it gets difficult.
And then we have like Time Skip Red, and then there's Adelaide.
Yeah, then there's Younger Red came back for the future to kill Android 17 and 18.
It's so
Adelaide
weird that they
EX.
Spider Red. I didn't think
They introduced Adelaide, which is just Adelaide, but the name is spelled in Leet speak. How are we supposed to know?
Yeah, and why was there an Android 16 in this feature? Because the time stream was poisoned. Anyways,
Oh my fucking god!
I'm extremely glad there's no time fuckery in this film because
honestly, that would have actually made me upset.
That's how you know someone of talent made it because there wasn't any like, and then the clones were sent 20 years into the past, and that's why this all happened.
God, it's just I love just this whole movie was so fucking good.
Really great film.
I love the bit in the beginning. So in the part where like the guy with the coat had shown in the trailer.
Oh yeah,
the guy having the scissors. I like how he was doing the first like Hands Across America thing, and I never picked up on that until like he was the very first one to commit the murder and then like get out and just start the chain.
Yeah,
and then it grew from him. And then like we just see him in the actual homie in the beginning get killed.
Want to know something else that's cool?
Yeah.
Cool things, in the scenes where it's showing Red in therapy, what she's doing is she's playing in a sandbox toy and she's lining up a bunch of figures. In the exact same way that the people are lined up on the beach in the Hands Across America parts.
I fucking love how...
She's also placing a bunny down. There's a lot of rabbit imagery in the film, obviously.
Also, like Adelaide and Child Adelaide wearing the Thriller shirt was very cool because like the cast being very like kind of done in makeup that was very similar to like with the sunken eyes and the very Thriller makeup kind of like that whole thing. Just like the little things.
I think it was Robbie also pointed out to me like the outfits that they wear are like kind of what somebody would remember 30 years down the line, the Thriller jumpsuit looking. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, the one that the extremely funny bit of like Child Adelaide going through the Native American Indian spirit journey, and then 30 years later it's changed to the Wizard's journey because it's racist.
But it's the same thing on the inside.
Yeah, but they're going, we're not racist.
It's not racist.
We changed the outside.
Yeah, that's like we also haven't really talked about it. In addition to being a really good like horror film and a really good like dense horror movie kind of thing, like I think a lot of horror movies you can tease a lot out of, but this is one that definitely was created for a specific sense of like putting a lot of like things in it to like pull out and like mull over, and a lot of this is a movie written by somebody who has read horror film theory.
Yeah.
It's also funny.
Yeah, he's really good. He knows when you need to laugh. Like, he knows when it's like, he knows you can't hold your breath forever and you need to be able to let some pressure leave you so that there's room for the next scare or the next, like, sense of, like, tension. Because if you're just full of, like, scares, you're just like...
Also,
you just become, like, fucking nonplussed by everything that comes up.
The way he uses, like, comedy to, like set up all the characters and stuff. Like, I love just, like, the stupid thing at the dinner where he's like, hey, language. And the kid just was like, did you know when you point a finger at someone, you have 3 pointing back at you? And he's like, but, like, the kid starts with, like, his thumb here, and then he, like, lifts his thumb up because he's like, oh, it's not, like, 4, it's 3. And then you can, like, as it shows, like, a close-up of, like, Adelaide's face, and she's, like, kind of, like, you know, like, decompressing, you could hear in the background, he's like, it's 4 fingers. And he's like, nuh-uh, it's 3. And then you have your thumb, and your thumb's not pointing back at you. Like, you can hear them just such a, like, perfectly written family.
Yeah, like the realest family bicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no one's like, it's just like, I love what an adorable, like, doofus dad Winston Duke is in this movie. He's just so like, good. He's so, like, He's so
what
was that? What was that sigh?
He's so hot in this movie.
So hot.
That scene when he's like, hey, honey, can we go to the beach? And he's got the tank top on.
Objectify men in horror.
God, yeah, the shot where he is on the bed, he gets on the bed and he gets into the, like, the straight guy, like, oh, like, I'm gonna just lay out on this bed in a way to, like, let my foot fuck, and I'm just gonna be like, hey. And the angle that it's at, so you can see his thighs and the slight part of his boxers, just like so
the fucking future.
I love that the whole time that Red is fuck it.
It's Red.
Red. Yeah. The whole time that she's processing, they keep that shot of him. He's like, what's wrong, baby?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to process, baby.
He, like, consolidates the pillows so that he can lean his back. Just, like, clearly the most, like, hey, babe, you want to come over here and just climb on me, and I'll do as little work as possible. So hot.
And she's going,
hot.
I feel like there's something wrong. There's something twisted up, and I feel like I'm going to die. And he's like, trying to But also, he's like, he is, like, trying, but it's also like he's doing a bad job, which is even more adorable. And, like, he's just, like, he can't read the mood for, like, a solid, like, 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay,
it's so cute.
It's such the cute thing of just, like, him being put in a situation, and he doesn't know how to handle it. And just, like, the little bit where he's like, hey, like, clearly, like, all right, I need to comfort her. What'll comfort her? I could kick your ass.
Yeah! Because there's the thing.
And then doing the little, like, hey, champ, like.
Yeah, no, because there's the thing. I'm a fucking dumbass. That's the kind of shit I would say to comfort a friend. Like,
that's the kind of shit someone would say to me that would make me feel bad.
Yeah, like, Jay, no joke, if you came to me, you were sad, I'd be like, Jay, if you're ever worried about being found, it's okay. I could kick your ass.
I could kick your ass. If your evil clone looks like you, I could kick your ass. So,
cheer up, slugger.
Cheer up.
Let's go do some
It's just like, Lupita's just, like, beautiful reaction to that of just, like, oh, you don't understand how horrifying this, like, the situation is right now. And he's just like, okay.
Listen,
tap out.
The thing of big booby babes in horror movies, and they run around and
they're sloshing about.
Hunka wobbly hubba. Ladies, oh my
god, is
god,
that a dame?
She's dead. She's dead now, or maybe she's not. I don't know which horror movie this is. But also, like, new horror. Just put a guy. Just you don't have to do that much. Just like,
but you should.
You should really go all out.
Do the Winston Duke shot.
You should have your cute, not hot like jock hot, like dad hot.
Yeah.
No protagonist in his boxers.
Show
being imperiled.
Show the cakes.
I also speaking of what's Winston Duke's character's name again?
It is actually I think it's Winston. Or no, it's Gabe Winston.
Okay. I love that.
The only reason the reason I'm able to remember it's Gabe Winston is because it's the only one where the name parallels the other name. Because it's Abraham, which would be shortened into Gabe.
Abraham, no. I like that.
It's Gabe because he's gay Abe.
Shit! Yeah, hey! So I also, like Mario, I watched some Jordan Peele interviews after I had watched Get Out. Get Out. So I want to watch Get Out again, though. That's why I said that. Not because I...
Get Out too. Get in. Get in, loser.
Get in, loser. We're watching us. But I watched another interview, and I like that he put a lot of conscious thought into making sure not only was this a black family lead, but also they come from upper class, and Gabe wearing the Howard shirt was a very intentional thing. And as someone who as a black person, that is extremely important to me, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's hard to explain how monumental little things like that, seemingly little things like that, can be, because no matter, like, when I was a kid, I would, like, no matter if I was as aware of the effects as I am now, I projected onto a lot of shit like Static Shock, or like anything that had like black main characters in it. And when you see it, and this goes into like the movies, I'm like, no, this is clearly like an R-rated movie, so obviously a kid wouldn't be seeing this, but or a cool kid could see it.
Yeah, take your kid to this movie unless you want your kid to be like a pussy.
You want your kid to be a fucking dork.
If you want your kid to be cool at school, come on.
Yeah, fucking don't make your kid a dork loser. Go see us. But having the family not come from upper class, having like the Howard shirt on Gabe was such a good, like, hearing him talk about like making those conscious choices to be like, okay, we're gonna have a black family who they own fucking boats. Like,
yeah, they buy a boat.
Owning boats, and like having property, and just like in this like really like upper class Santa Cruz neighborhood. It is just like really good to see that, and still be able to have the conversations about like class struggle and the us versus them mentality, and also just be chud. Like, it does so many fucking good things, and I really. But that was one of the biggest things I immediately took notice of, as far as like just seeing that kind of representation of just like a successful black family just like out there kicking it in a horror movie.
God,
it's good shit.
It's so good.
Good on you, Jordan Peele.
Good shit.
Let's hang out. Let's smoke a joint.
Jordan Peele, come through.
It's
Jordan Peele, come on, Film Creators. The story for Shona, and like put you on Film Creators.
It's time to address the elephant in the room. Evil Tim Heidecker.
Evil Tim Heidecker! Text everybody!
And evil Elizabeth Moss.
So, yeah, we do just... we need to set aside just a special little pocket to praise Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker.
I'm doing my, like, ooh, I can't wait to speak. Watching this the second time, I realized something about evil Elizabeth Moss, because I was kind of like, first time watching, I'm like, okay, this is a creepy thing, but like, what's going on? She's doing like a Laura Palmer having a breakdown thing. Mm-hmm. What it is that because she's the evil version, much like how evil Tim Heidecker is a jackass as well.
Yeah.
She is also somewhat obsessed with vanity, but now she has access to beauty things that she didn't in real life.
So she's obsessed with
and then she goes to like kill like her, and then she's like, oh, like it's implied that like she knows she can't because she's supposed to save that one for Adelaide. But then she goes back and she cuts herself with like her scissors, and it comes off. It's a very creepy, spooky, horrifying image. Mm-hmm. And then she turns her face when she hears the boat on fire, and she has a symmetrical scar on the other side. And watching it the second time, I realized that it's because when they're on the beach, Kitty, her above ground version, talks about how she got plastic surgery work done over the summer.
Fuck.
And as we learned from Adelaide, when things like that happen above ground, they have to do them themselves below ground. So she was trying to give herself plastic surgery, but she didn't know what it was. She just knew that her tethered cut her own face open.
Fuck! Oh my god.
And that's what's going on in that scene, is literally linking like obsession of beauty into like a form of self-harm. And just like literally being driven insane by wanting access to beauty and not being able to access it.
Fuck this movie, that's incredible.
When I made that connection, I was just like, it added so much. It made her perform. It's a great performance. It really added a level to her performance.
She was fucking incredible in this movie. Goddamn. And just like again, like you said, just having the knowledge alone of the lore of the fact that the tethered have to do the things that their above ground selves do, like puts so many little actions that you got to pay attention to the story bits, because like you said, you pay attention to the part where she's like, oh yeah, I got past plastic surgery because I needed this, and then like,
and it's set up in the movie. It's just like that we're just establishing what kind of a person this is.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, but we're also establishing what kind of person their tethers are.
Yeah.
Which is why the payoff of the joke of evil Tim Heidecker doing the like too slow
gotcha bitch, yeah.
is great because it's like they don't have to show Tim Heidecker doing that above ground.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, yeah, that asshole would do that.
Yeah, like when that happened, the whole theater laughed. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that dick would do that."
Like,
shit.
the only difference is like above ground Tim Heidecker is just the fact that his character is just like he's more passive aggressive about his little things.
He's
very fucking final because you're because you're goddamn wine or whatever.
Yeah,
and very quietly saying things like, too many drinks, cool. And this is like his tether is just like all of his balled up like anger coming up to just like be an outward asshole. More forward asshole.
The fucking Tim Heidecker doing Jack Torrance down the steps.
Oh my god.
Shit, that was so fucking
I
good.
love the magic of just getting to cast Tim Heidecker in things where he just gets to be Tim Heidecker and it works.
But not in
he's
a way
not being Tim and Eric, but he is.
But he's being it just shows that Tim Heidecker's comedy has always been about horror and comedy are the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
horror and comedy are exactly the same.
There's no
everything is exactly the same.
You're not gonna watch the fucking like you have been unkind to the birds of the world and say that's not horror inspired.
Everything. It's what's that old chestnut? Every story is either Pretty Lady or Frankenstein.
God.
God,
everything is either Tim and Eric or Tim Heidecker presents the comedy.
Jesus Christ.
What the tenseness of on cinema at the cinema where Tim Heidecker gets like, passive mad.
Greg, when we do the Hereditary thing, let's do a double feature with the comedy. Does that sound fun?
I'd love that.
Can we just throw Come and See on there as well? I kind of want to wrap things off.
Hey, let's just watch fucking a Serbian film.
Yeah, I've actually been wanting to see that.
Would like everybody to know I had not seen these movies that they're mentioning.
We should start with Martyrs, I think, and then do a Serbian film.
I walked in and y'all watching Martyrs, and I'm never gonna fucking watch it again. You fucking insane people.
It's fine. So that part of Martyrs that you probably walked in on. So what if a Serbian film is what if a movie was just that with like basically no other pretense?
Fuck me.
What? No. A Serbian film and Martyrs are the same movie.
We'll let the audience know that I have like not
Martyrs is a Serbian film on HRT.
They could be lying to me and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I haven't seen a Serbian film, but I was reading it and it's one of those movies where I feel like it was made more so for the purposes of it being made and doesn't actually need to be watched. Doesn't really need to be watched by American audiences either. Because it's entirely just like inside baseball commentary about Serbian film industry.
Oh, that's okay. That's completely purposeless, and I watched it for absolutely no reason. And
it's because I literally had to read interviews. I literally had to read interviews with the guy, and basically the whole film is about how Serbian film industry is entirely supported by Western money, and all the West wants to see is essentially tragedy porn. Like he's interviewed like you can't get your movie funded. He's like you can't get your movie funded in Serbia unless it features a barefoot orphan or a widow of the war.
Goddamn.
And he's like, that's the only way to make it. So I wanted to make a movie that's just like, is about how the West is just exploiting the horrible tragedies that have befallen our country, but has no interest in our stories that aren't that.
God.
But it's again, Western audiences don't need to watch that because it's literally about how Western audiences are ruining the Serbian film industry.
He's
also a trust fundy though, so like he's also just like, a pretentious dumbass. But
I can't believe how much you know about this.
I literally just read about the other day I was like, I really want to know what the fuck was the deal with a Serbian film?
Yeah, it's
I feel like that's the best like motivation for like
far from crucial.
What the fuck was this shit?
But God, it's crazy.
Yeah, I would love to watch Hereditary.
Crazy to me that like between a Serbian film, Cannibal Holocaust, and fucking
I forgot
Salo.
about Cannibal Holocaust.
Salo is the one that has the Criterion release.
Cannibal Holocaust doesn't?
It doesn't. I don't think it does.
That surprises me because I haven't seen, but I know about the lore of Cannibal Holocaust, and I'm surrised I didn't get like.
I might be wrong about that.
Because like that's a movie I've been curious to see. Because I know that people didn't they go to fucking they go to jail for several things.
So
or got charged.
Let me tell you,
it's all fake stuff, but they pretend.
No, it's not.
It's not.
There was some animal abuse shit. I
Yes,
think.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the extent of it. I don't mean to say that like humans died,
okay.
but
and not to belittle animal abuse, obviously, but like.
Yeah, no. Listen, they're animals. At least it's not people. No. Hey, no,
Hey, but if you have the opposite of opinion of that, there's a movie called Roar that you'll love.
Roar.
everybody.
I do actually. I really want to watch Roar and just be
What's Roar?
stressed out.
So Roar is the reason why if you look at photos of Mia Farrow before 1981 and after 1981, she looks different because a lion ripped off half her face. It's a Jaws ripoff, but about lions, and like 38 cast and crew members were mauled because they did not train the lions properly. It is a film that got a re-release like 2 or 3 years ago because they basically rediscovered it, and then they're like, what the fuck? This is a movie that that is like infamous labor violations in the.
I would like
film
you to describe to
industry.
the audience the face I'm making right now.
Greg looks like if you went to pee and something solid came out.
Something solid did come out. I did pee and something solid came out. You know what that was? Fear. And also kidney stones. No, just kidding. I don't have those yet. I'm planning on it.
Yeah. Growing one.
Growing one.
Bun in the oven.
Bro, I'm so pregnant with kidney stones right now.
I'm gonna name mine Kyle.
So Us. Was that what we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're done with...
Hey, do you think Us and Get Out will get Criterion?
ADHD!
Woo, everybody!
You think Us and Get Out will get Criterion Collection releases?
They fucking
No,
better.
no, they won't, because nothing good ever happens, and my
life is
dreams are
pointless,
dead.
and we all get to die.
They give like the shit that they give Criterion Collection releases.
Exactly,
have
Jay.
surprised me.
Exactly,
But have
Jay.
surprised me in a like, oh, that is cool to get a Criterion Collection. They're doing a Jackie Chan movie on Criterion. Police Story.
That fucking bargain bin shit! Fuck out of here!
Hey, come on! Hey!
Come on!
Hey, Criterion Collection. Remember when you tried to do your fucking film struck streaming service? How about your film struck it up your ass?
How about your film suck me off?
This is why we never have Greg on the podcast.
Why?
Because too much ADHD in one room.
Yeah, I caused it. Yeah, sorry, I gave them ADHD before I came here, so that's why
God.
it's all
Our tethered versions don't have Adderall.
Speaking of our tethered versions,
My tether does have Adderall.
Let's do a bit. Where would your tethered kill you? Because mine would be on the toilet. Mine would kill me on the toilet. I promise you.
Where would my tethered know that I'm most vulnerable?
Yeah. I'm always pooping, so I die.
Always pooping. That's hard.
Tell me I'm wrong, bitch.
I can't. I literally can't.
Damn right you can.
Well, my tethered would probably know how to drive, so they'd probably just run me over. Here's the new recurring bit. Play a little bit of music over this. Is Us ableist?
I'm vetoing this right now.
You're vetoing this bit right now.
I'm vetoing this bit right now.
Okay. My non-bit, non-joke answer is that ableism is innate to the horror genre, but horror has a very, very long history of drawing things from things that are considered abject and
Yes.
It's
unsettling.
a conversation that deserves to be talked about. Yeah.
It's Us is nowhere near the only, or even probably within the past year, the worst signifier of that.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely just because the media frenzy when Lupita was like, yeah, I based my character's voice off of people with a larynx disorder. And that was very much to me, I saw that interview and I was like, that makes sense because your character is supposed to be someone whose throat was crushed and then had to basically not talk for 14 years and is trying to do it again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. You'd look to like, how does a person who's been through that kind of thing talk? But all the news outlets covered it as like, Lupita explains the horrifying secret behind her scary voice.
Yeah, listen, watch how she defined her fucked up voice.
Yeah,
wow. And it's like and
it's
you
not,
watch it. Yeah.
Her voice isn't scary because it's like, it's a scary voice. It's a like representation of what the character has gone through.
Yeah. Like physically, her throat was crushed, but also, like you said, literally, it's like, it's symbolic of like what people with the disorder of like,
having
to like
it's a thing, or it's like I said, it's like there are definitely arguments to be made about it.
Absolutely.
It's a problem in the horror genre. It's a problem in film.
Yeah, just like taking shit from
it sucks, but it is literally a system-wide problem.
It's a really poisoned well, and just the focus on kind of the like abjection aspect of it, and the like kind of making it, I don't know.
Like you said, there is absolutely a conversation to be had about ableism in film. I would not call but I would also not call us like I think the main like I would not.
It's entirely, like I said, it's entirely just, it's because of that interview where she mentioned that, and it's entirely just
the coverage.
Of just like the coverage brought more attention to it in a way that I think people were using it as a chance to like discuss this issue and hopefully push the conversation.
And then you watch it, she's just saying like a footnote, like, oh yeah, I learned it.
I think the hard and fast facts that I like really agree with is that on a much deeper level than that is like super valid, and her like making that decision for the character, or like her and like the whole creative team making that decision for the character is super valid, and also at the same time I think a lot of people don't have a very like deep engagement with media in the way that like enthusiasts do. So like a lot of times when people bring up this stuff, I feel that their concerns are more to do with like, okay, this is an evil character, like a bad evil character with this like disorder that like, you know, affects people. But that's not me saying that's obviously not me saying, and like once again, I know you guys have a very good rating level, but like that's obviously not me saying like they fucked up. It's like, no, obviously it's like a very honest and like very far from the most egregious horror movie. In fact, I would say this is like the kind of pinnacle of actually like overall
empathetic horror.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
The big framing of the film is to try to make you empathize with the air quote monsters.
Yeah, like
by making even by making you realize, hey, one of the people that you've been cheering on this whole film was one of them.
Us,
which obviously in retrospect is so fucking crucial.
Yeah, like
it's why it's like I don't blame people, because like we're used to seeing horror movies with the twist is just there to like make it a must-see movie, like Good Night Mommy bullshit. Fuck that movie. But
piece of shit.
It's a movie where the twist actually is like very essential for understanding the film, and like he's even said in interviews, it's like I wanted the audience to like be put in a position of realizing, oh, they've been cheering on a villain, air quotes, the whole film, but is it are they a villain? Like, there's a
lot of nuance.
Does knowing that they were tethered change what you empathize with their story? Because they are still the mother of these kids. They are still trying to protect their family and their place in the world.
Yeah.
Does it change learning that like she basically fucked someone else over to get that place in the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what
gray area is. Just maybe.
Is that there are two sides to it. It feels like, that's why I said earlier, it feels like a horror film made by someone who's read horror film theory. Yeah. Because it's literally all about like, oh, horror film theory loves talking about the us versus them dichotomy and about mirrors and doppelgangers. Here's a movie that's just about that, baby.
God, it is such a good romp, and it's a good thinker, and I also like that this is another movie where all of our group of friends saw it. It's another one of those movies where we just like split into two groups and all had our processing wheel.
Yeah,
we turned into our infinity sign of friends to just like process like the movies.
It was it was kind of the same ritual as after Get Out,
right?
Really, we're like and Hereditary, where we were
just there for that, but we did the same thing after Hereditary.
I'm so glad that carried into that.
That's right. We have this like smoking circle that we have where we all just like get in a circle after movies and just like talk about it and just like, oh my god, that was so fucked up.
Did you notice that?
I love when we do that because it's one of my favorite. It's one of the reasons why I love like going to movies.
Yeah, it's why I love to watch movies with people. Is because I like being able to talk about the movie I saw after it.
It's
why we do processes. Processes.
Yay!
All right. So the other bit that we do at the end of every episode.
Wait, no, I have.
She didn't answer it. Don't let her get away with it.
Yeah, good point.
How fucking dare you? I think there would just be like a smoked salmon in the street, like on a fishing line.
You smell it and you just like follow it like you're floating in the air.
Just like a charcuterie in the street.
Yeah, like a charcuterie board. That's like
Hey, real talk, that would kill me too. I'm just
If I walk into a room and I see a charcuterie board, it's fucking A to B and like 0 flat. Are you kidding me?
A charcuterie and a mimosa that is under a cardboard box held up with a stick.
Yeah, I go blind.
It says Acme.
You could literally be in front of my face, like, I'm about to kill you now, and I would just be like, I'm about to kill this charcuterie board, so I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
You're fucking like Moto, just beelining for it.
I love the bit I've been doing on like fucking Twitter and shit, which is like saying like this is me and my tether. It's just pictures of like 2 people being super high.
God,
just like me and my tether like not knowing how to kill each other, so we just go see a movie. Because my tether would also be fucking stoned as shit. Like,
here's the thing. Well, you were smoking fire.
Well, I was smoking fire.
The tethered
smoking stems.
The tethered would hand me a poisoned joint at a bus stop that I would smoke at like the end of the fucking Handmaiden. And also like the poison joint that I smoked that one time at the bus stop where I immediately got sick for a week.
Your tethered smokes oregano.
My tether's a fucking dork. I kill it.
Your tethered's like trying to show you that if you like fry up like peeled banana skins, like you can smoke them and get high.
My tethered still believes that you can play as Toad in Mario 64 and like Smash 64. My tethered fucking still goes on like GameFAQs in 96 and like tries to play as Luigi.
My tethered is getting high off of fucking nitrous and expired chalupas.
My tethered smoked a pencil in middle school. My tether's the one fucking kid who always snorts mints in like middle school.
That kid was the coolest kid though.
And he's still 32 in middle school.
My tethered is the kid that snorted Lucas and had to leave for a month.
I love that story so much.
Hope you're still alive, Max.
If not, hey, this is my memorial song for Max. My name is Max, and I snorted Lucas, and then I died.
So, hey, Greg, I have a question for you.
What's up?
As Jay was saying before, we have a bit that we do at the end of this show.
Okay.
Where it's what would you or wouldn't you have spent the ticket price on? So what would you? So let's say the ticket price is like $15.
Yeah, we usually go $15 because like our secret is that we usually don't pay because I have movie bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So if I did not spend $15 on the ticket,
assuming general ticket price, like let's say it's like $12 to $15. What would you have rather spent your $15 on, and what are you glad you didn't spend your $15 on?
Anything in the world that you can think of.
What would I have rather spent the $15 on had it not been a movie ticket, and what would I have been glad that I did not spend the money on?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a fun one. I like how specific it is, honestly.
It's our
capitalism.
It's our bit of like, how do we have like a rating systems gimmick that isn't like numbers, because we hate I hate talking about numbers or like thumbs up,
fuck
thumbs
a star.
down, fuck letters.
Because like fuck it, because like if I see something that's like a 4 out of 5 on Amazon, I'm like, okay, but what the fuck is wrong? What the fuck did like Keith from Kansas have a problem with?
What's
it's always
4 out of
like
5? Yeah.
I couldn't shave my balls with the microphone, and I'm like, well, fuck, if he had a problem, I don't know. Even though 3,000 other people liked it, I was like, well, 4 isn't 5.
And it's also like, it's like, I feel like of a lot of people, it's like you can kind of get a sense of their rating system, but it's like I don't care about numbers. I don't like math.
I was a B student.
What I like is to buy things, and I like things that are pretty, and I like things that are nice. And
baby.
And I like things that are also bad and stupid. So I like to just compare movies to things that I could have consumed instead.
So if I had not, if I had not bought this movie ticket that I saw for free thank you, Brew. I love you very much. $15, that would have bought me. I feel like that would have bought me a milk frother on Amazon, so I could make warm milk, and I would have been just as satisfied as watching Us.
Now, what are you glad you didn't spend $15 on?
I am glad I did not spend $15 on Taco Time.
Yeah, that's a good go-to.
That's very fair.
I feel like it like gives people a good audience, which is like, it has to be something real fucking shitty for you to not have been.
To put Taco Time into context, I won't.
It's bad.
Bad food, stupid food.
Mm-hmm.
They sell tater tots, so they call it a taco joint. Fuck them.
I am glad I did not spend my $15 on what's a movie I can compare it to? Like maybe like a Chud box set. or like the stuff on like Blu-ray, like just like some 80s horror film where it's like, yeah, but I mean I like them, but this one's like that but better. Kind of like how The Conjuring is like a 70s horror film, but you know, like better because it's new and things that are new are better. What would I have rather spent my $15 on? If I could like pay some... No, actually, hold on. I take this back. I'm glad I didn't spend my $15 on for a DVD copy of the Key and Peele show, specifically this season with the really homophobic sketch about the gay coworker.
Oh, yeah. Canceled!
Hey, Jordan. I didn't forget.
The microphone forgot how to stand up.
The microphone
early.
forgot.
I do forgive
him. I like how you said canceled and it felt like a fucking curse word.
I do forgive him for that skit, though, because of the shot of...
Winston Duke.
Yeah.
I like how Jay said canceled and the microphone felt like they cursed it to die.
What I would rather have spent my $15 on, though... Maybe to like bribe like some Criterion. Is there like a judge for the Criterion collection so I could bribe them to get us a Criterion?
I'll give you $15 to fucking put.
Like they're not making that much money at Criterion. Are you kidding me? Their fucking streaming service went down. I would bribe one of them with $15 to get Out on the fucking fast track to a Blu-ray release.
That's so fucking fair.
Yeah, fair enough. If they knew their shit, I would not rather have spent $15 on Chipotle, which is, I guess that's a no-brainer, but I don't know. I don't really feel like expending effort thinking about this thing for my show, so fuck you, audience. That's a joke. I love you.
Your tethered doesn't.
My tethered hates me.
Your tethered has an extremely unsuccessful podcast.
Yeah.
Called Film Shitters.
Shut up!
Jesus Christ. It's unsuccessful because it's a recording of them just going,
oh!
It's because like kind of like Plato's Cave. They like don't see movies. They're just like they just watch old episodes of Tiny Toons and figure out what movies are about through that.
Oh my god.
This episode was also a movie.
I would rather...
You can't hold your breath for that long in a tunnel.
I would rather have spent $15 on an insane deal on like a bidet, because I'm just like done with not having one. You know what I mean?
They're really nice. I will say that.
So does a bidet cost $15?
No, not in any world. Okay. I don't know why.
Why did you look at me like I know the fuck you wanted to? What the?
Play us out, Greg. So
that's Film Critters. That's a good show. That's Film Critters.
Okay.
Enjoy the show.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
This was so fucking
both
fun.
to see the film Us and to record this podcast.
It was wonderful. I'm glad you had me.
It was so wonderful to have you. So overjoyed. Jay Bearhat.
Yeah.
Do without them.
Thanks for seeing it twice, asshole.
Fuck you. Hey, thanks for knowing all that shit about the movie that we're talking about. Thanks, Greg.
Follow Jay and Baru on Twitter and
Greg.
And block Greg on Twitter.
Block me on Twitter. I'm a fucking
at Jet
dickhead.
Greg Guar.
Make sure you block at Jet Greg Guar. They're gay and they're gonna piss all over me.
Oh, I was there. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. And
this was so fun.
Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Film
Critters. All one word.
Check us out. We have the SoundCloud if you need an audio version of this. And I say this like every time, but hopefully we'll have a new episode soon.
And as always, enjoy.
Well, okay, one last thing. Do we want to reveal our Patreon? Did we already reveal our Patreon theme? I don't think we did.
The Patreon theme?
Yeah, for the next month.
Oh, no. So, yeah, for this month...
we did reveal it. Stoner movies. But we didn't reveal what won.
Yes. So, what won... So, if you are a Patreon and you'd like to hear our thoughts on Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
That is what next month's... or this month's Patreon, because it's now officially April. That is what this month's
Fuck my
Patreon
life.
is about.
Yeah, okay. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Where is the car?
I'm excited. It might be a little bit of a special time.
Yeah, we might have
a guest. Might have.
What day are you gonna film it on in April?
Probably will be stoned. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for listening to us.
Fuck my life. Okay.
It's always funny when I do that.
Greg doing literally anything. It's always funny
So
when I do
hit
it.
up at Jed Gregoire on Twitter if you have anything that you want to say about that.
If you have any shit that you want to say.
If you have any shit you want
Any
to...
shit you want to say to me, kick my ass. I live in Seattle.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. I love you.